Hi, my name's Danielle. This is Shopping with the Devil video number 4. And yeah, the topic of this video is water and clothing. So I am really big on just the basic necessities that people need to survive. Food, water, clothing, and shelter. I did another video on food. You can watch that one, and then I'll do a different video on shelter. Water and clothing. So water is something that I think a lot of us take for granted. We have, at least where I'm in upstate New York, we have water that we can change the temperature of at any given time. It's clean water, it's tested regularly, and it can flow really fast. It's right in our house. And it's just like never ending, and it's free. So that is, all of those things are just like so many things to be grateful for, and recognize that there is people around the world that absolutely do not have those same things with their water. And it just makes me really grateful for what I do have. And I think most people in the United States, and I'm not sure about, I think other countries, there's some other countries too, but there's, certain of people that we have good access to water. And being that water is one of our basic necessities, if that's something that your country provides for you for free, then that's one basic necessity that automatically, like, you don't have to worry about. And even if your country does not have that as easily accessible, just obviously, like, you take any water source, like a river or whatever, and you filter it, then boil it, and that's how you can get water too. Because water really is, it's all around the world. Obviously, there's not everybody is close to like a river or other water sources. But yeah, I think it's something that's generally easy to come by. But I guess, like, all those different aspects, like, can it be temperature controlled? Is it, clean? And all those things are definitely a privilege for some of us. And so yeah, but don't take it for granted. And if it is free in your country, that's something when you get down financially, you're not doing very well, you don't have to worry about the water part, and that's really nice. And the clothing part, clothing, you also really, I feel like, at least in the United States, it's very easy to come by clothing. Like, everybody has, not everyone, but a lot of people have a whole closet full of clothes, or a whole dresser full of clothes. It's just in so much excess. My husband was saying that there's people put clothes in, like, thrift stores and stuff, and those clothes, they end up in landfills, and they get turned into, like, insulation for your walls. There's just so many clothes out there. They're trying to find other, like, uses for them. So I feel like clothes are just pretty easy to come by. And don't ever buy clothes for full price at the store, even if you're not struggling. Like, you don't need to spend that extra money on the newest fashion that's out there. Thrift stores are perfectly great, and even if you can't even afford thrift store clothes, like, don't be scared to just go ask people for clothes. Like, knock on someone's door. It's kind of weird in a way, but, like, if you're surviving, you need clothes. Like, people have whole closets of clothes. Go up to a house that looks like they're rich and, just ask if you can have some of their clothes. And I would think that, people might think you're kind of weird, but, like, I think people would give you clothes, like, or at least, like, give you money so you can go to the thrift store, or, something like that. But if you're struggling financially, it's like, not all hope is not lost. Like, there is lots of different ways that you can survive, and you might not have like what society says that you need to have as far as clothes go. Like, you might not be in fashion, you know, all those, just all these things that society says you need certain clothes. But in reality, it's just something to cover your body. And the other aspect of that is like the weather. So that's, I think, the biggest aspect with clothes, is making sure that you have enough outfits, or not enough outfits, but clothes that will last different types of weather. And you really only need probably a couple outfits of at least the underclothes. And you can just do laundry, you know, and keep wearing those same clothes. You do not need a full closet full of clothes. You need like probably just like one bag of clothes, plus like a coat. And yeah, so I think like the like winter clothes, those might be a little more harder to come by. But yeah, you just have to search around, ask around. Maybe you find someone who knows how to sew. You could try to sew, or you could try to learn how to sew your own clothes. Plenty of fabric out there. You could go dumpster diving, looking for fabric or old clothes. And if you can't find winter clothes, you could consider the option of maybe you need to get out of a winter climate. Maybe you need to move to somewhere that's warm all the time. Because where it's warm all the time, well, you don't need as many clothes. And so, you know, when you're in survival mode, you kind of got to think of different avenues like that. And maybe if you go to a warmer climate, well, now your job's going to have to change. But, yeah, you just have to think about, like, what is, necessary for survival and according to your circumstance, and try to think outside the box. Don't think that there's, what society tells you is the one way to live. You got to do what you got to do in whatever circumstance you're in. And that might mean moving somewhere warmer, because then you won't need as many clothes. You might not have to lug around as many things. Might not have to worry about your shelter being as crazy. There's a lot of benefits to living, where it's warm. But it all depends on, your financial situation and what you're able to survive with. Yeah, so I think that's kind of what I wanted to share with water and clothing. And just like a random other thing, just with like food kind of along with that, is water's really easy to come by. Clothing is pretty easy to come by. Food, if you're just like asking people for food or surviving off of like wild plants, food is kind of technically also easy to come by. And so those three things for survival, like, doesn't take, well, I mean, it's easier said than done, but like there's plenty of it to go around, it's just a matter of like figuring out different avenues of getting them. And I think shelter is the one that is harder to come by, especially depending on if you are in a colder climate. Shelter is a huge thing, and that's probably going to be where most of your effort might go towards, most of your stress might go towards. But the food, water, and clothing, I think a lot of people have excess of that they can share with you. But yeah, so I'll talk about other things, but I just wanted to kind of add that extra thought. So yeah, and thanks for watching this video.